Jamaica's death toll from COVID-19 has increased to 902 with 10 additional fatalities, while 100 newly confirmed cases takes the country's infection total to 47,672. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the 10 deaths include 7 from Manchester that were recorded between February and May. Now, these deaths include 4 women, 2 aged 86, a 70-year-old, and a 52-year-old whose deaths were previously classified as under investigation, and 4 men aged 63, 76, 85, and 80. The country also recorded 100 new recoveries, taking the total of recovered persons now to 23,643. In other news tonight, the Ministry of Education is now making preparations to facilitate some 290 students with special needs to sit next Wednesday's primary exit profile examinations. Minister of Education Favour Williams, during yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing, indicated that over 37,179 students are expected to sit the Grade 6 ability test, and that 320 students had submitted psycho-evaluation reports upon request to be allowed to sit the examination.
Next Wednesday, May 26, 37,179 students will be sitting the primary exit profile PEP, the Grade 6 ability test. We would like our students to know that the ministry has made all accommodations for them in order to have a safe and successful sitting of the exam. We've made special accommodations for our special needs students as well, in terms of whether or not they have asked for example, extra time, assignment of a reader or a writer, a prompter or a shadow, whether they've asked for preferential seating, so for example, they may ask to be seated at the front, and whether they've asked for allowances of breaks. A total of 320 students who submitted psycho-evaluation reports. These were evaluated by our special education unit, and of this amount, 290 would have received the special accommodations. 5 applicants also will receive linguistic aid in terms of their language, their native language versus the English in which the exam is written.
Minister Williams further pointed out that a section of the test will be presided over by contracted persons.
The ability test will be presided over by a contracted person or external to the schools. We've been training our presiding examiners and invigilators. We've been recruiting monitors, and we believe all is ready for next week, Wednesday, for the exam. We are encouraging our students the night before the exam to go to bed early. Do not study too much before the exam. Ensure you take at least 2 HB pencils to the examination and a clean eraser. Have a healthy breakfast on the morning of the exam. Be at the examination venue at least 1 hour before the start. Do not attempt to get help from anyone in the examination room. Direct all your queries to the presiding examiners or invigilators. And to our parents, we're saying do not interfere with the examination procedure. And your task is to ensure that the students get to the examination venues on time, and of course, imploring everyone to maintain all the COVID-19 protocols. Thank you.
The Education Minister also pointed out that parents can make a request to the ministry for assistance to transport their child to sit the examination by calling its hotline at 888-724-8463. Still making the news tonight, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, Senator Matthew Samuda, says the e-commerce national delivery solution ends, which enables businesses to continue during the COVID-19 curfew hours, have several advantages that are beneficial to participants.
A lot has been made around whether or not ENDS secures data. Driver and business sign-up information is hosted safely on servers at the GOJ's data center. Customer information for those who are placing orders is not collected by the government, but rather the selected e-commerce and payment platforms from which the customer orders. And this is important. The government does not process any single order for any of these businesses. The government rather directs you to businesses with e-commerce platforms so that you're able to conduct your business directly with the businesses who are registered. There are several advantages to ENDS that we believe exist. ENDS allows the government to balance the lives and livelihoods of Jamaicans as movement is restricted to reduce transmission of COVID-19. Businesses are afforded an avenue to serve their customers, allowing them to earn valuable revenue as well as keep their staff members employed. The processes associated with ENDS allows businesses and consumers alike the opportunity to become familiar with and ultimately embrace and engage in the digital economy. The creation of a culture of fulfillment through the formalization of our delivery economy and the strengthening of our delivery service providers is also a benefit. It creates the opportunity for every compliant business to reach consumers across the length and breadth of Jamaica and indeed the world. The ability to bring structure to the burgeoning business of payment service providers. It also allows the country to earn valuable GCT through the continuation of commerce during curfew hours.
Senator Samuda also stated that with ENDS, small businesses have the opportunity to join larger companies to establish an e-commerce presence.
With the advent of ENDS, we have seen a marked increase in the interest of small and micro enterprises to join larger companies in establishing an e-commerce presence. Never before have we experienced the likes of small restaurants and pan-chicken businesses looking to the internet to bolster their business. We are also seeing a boom in the number of companies who are offering an end-to-end payment solution. Some of these companies have gone as far as tackling logistics of delivery, which augurs well for the future of the delivery economy and puts into sharp focus what we can achieve as a country in a very short time if we are properly motivated with the right policies, which are then enacted by this government. The companies that are new to the e-commerce space have been pulling out all the stops to retool their staff and infrastructure to include installing new hardware and software, as well as creating new apps to enhance the customer experience. We're now at the stage where I can report that we have applications from businesses in every single parish in Jamaica. We expect to have up to 248 businesses using the ENDS platform this weekend, and that is evenly spread right across the country. Persons who are also visiting the website would notice that several upgrades have been done by eGov in recent weeks, and the platform is much more user-friendly. This program, we believe, is a bit of a silver lining around the dark cloud, as it is moving several small and micro businesses into the 21st century. And I think it's important, in closing, just to acknowledge the partnership that the government of Jamaica has with the PSOJ on this project.
Still making the news tonight, Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie says when compared to last year, a lot more money will be spent in developing the infrastructure and human resources of the poor relief system.
The work of the government as we continue to enhance and improve the quality of the less fortunate in our society. We spent a significant amount last year, both on infrastructure and developing the human resources of the poor relief system. And this year we will be spending a significant amount, much more than we did last year. We provided over some 30,000 meals across the country. In every parish, on a daily basis, we provide at least 2 meals. The homeless population is something that is of concern. It is growing. The last count we had when we did the survey in the latter part of last year has placed the homeless population to over 3,500. And I am I can assure you that the numbers might increase because in that survey, it is just not possible to capture all those persons who are out on the street. So we are going to be increasing the support. We are establishing 2 brand new shelters in Falmouth in Trelawney and in Ochireus in St. Anne, and those 2 facilities will house collectively 80 persons respectively at those 2 locations. We are also carrying out infrastructure improvement work on a facility in the minister's constituency in Augustown that caters for a large constituency of persons who rely on the state. And these infrastructure development that we are putting in comes at a time when the demands are greater.
Now, Minister McKenzie, during yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing, also announced that $18 million will be spent on upgrading the Denhamtown Golden Age home, along with other initiatives that will provide jobs for a number of persons.
We'll be spending some $18 million to renovate and to upgrade the facilities of the Denhamtown Golden Age home. Other announcements that was made yesterday was this new initiative, Paint the City, Paint the Town. We are expecting that this initiative will generate some 3,000 jobs. Some of these jobs at the end of it will become permanent, but a significant portion of this will be part-time employment. We are expecting to create murals across the major town centers, clean up these communities, paint the markets, putting in proper road signs and directional signs, fixing sidewalks, correcting some of the entanglement that the disabled community is experiencing by putting in the necessary ramps in these town centers. So while we are undertaking this program, it is going to be a comprehensive program, and we will launch the program in the parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew and Maypen, and this program will be rolled out over a 6-month period. It is expected that in the first phase of the program, we will be spending some $300 million to offset the costs of the program. As I said yesterday in Parliament, that this is not a program where somebody write down their name and turn up on a Friday evening to get paid. This is a program where we expect to get returns for taxpayers' dollar.
Minister McKenzie emphasized that a clean city will contribute to the development of the country.
As a country, as we are grappling with the problems of COVID, that this is a part of the recovery. A clean city, a beautiful place, contributes much to the development of a growing nation. The Ministry of Local Government has been assigned rural development, rural water, rural electrification. We have undertaken a massive program that will help to stem the migration from many rural communities into urban centers, not just in the corporate area, but right across the country. We have identified 6 parishes where we will launch the first phase of this program, and we are expecting to spend in the first phase of the program some $650 million. And what we'll be doing in these various communities, putting in the various infrastructure, community centers, community parks, access to Wi-Fi services, indigent housing, water supply, electricity, and roads. This is a massive program, and it is going to be a program, it will be the first of its kind that will be undertaken. And we are expecting to get positive results out of this program. This initiative is one that, as I said before, will help us to stamp the government's intention on really improving urban and rural development in this year.
In other news tonight, a manhunt is now underway in Hanover to locate and apprehend a Westmoreland man who doused his girlfriend with gasoline before setting her on fire at their business place in Great River yesterday afternoon. The woman has since been admitted to hospital in critical condition and is being treated for severe burns to her entire body. Reports coming into our news center tonight are that at approximately 4:30 p.m., the woman who operates a car wash and bar at the Great River border to Hanover and St. James was inside the establishment when an argument developed between her and the accused. The accused then allegedly doused her with gasoline before setting her and the building on fire. He then fled the scene. The fire was extinguished from the woman by residents who ran to the location. However, they were unable to save the building, which was completely destroyed. The police were summoned and the victim was rushed to the Noel Holmes Hospital in Lucy, where she was admitted. In news from St. James, the police and fire investigators will be conducting further investigations at the scene of the fire in Barrett Hall, Lilliput, where two young siblings were killed in a blaze that completely destroyed their home yesterday morning. The siblings have been identified as 3-year-old Aidan Flowers and his 1-year-old brother Christopher. Reports are that shortly after 8:30 a.m., the boy's father, Omar Flowers, left for work. Minutes later, their mother, Crystal Johnson, went to a neighboring shop to purchase food items. She was then informed that her one-apartment wooden dwelling was on fire. She ran back to her house and discovered the entire building ablaze, with both her sons trapped on the inside. She raised an alarm that her children were still inside the house, but based upon the magnitude of the fire, residents were unable to venture into the burning building. The fire department and the police were summoned, and upon their arrival, the firemen managed to extinguish the blaze, but by this time the house and all its contents had been completely destroyed. The burnt bodies of the two siblings were later discovered under the burnt rubble. The police have indicated that they have not ruled out arson as a motive for the fire. Continuing with the news tonight, the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, says it has launched a probe into Tuesday's fatal shooting of a teenaged boy in Greenwich Town, Kingston, which led to a protest staged by angry residents in the area yesterday. Now the disgruntled residents blocked various sections of the roadway and protested that 18-year-old O'Neill Chambers of West Avenue was killed by the police in cold blood. Despite these allegations, the police have maintained their report that a team of officers were on patrol in the area when they saw a group of men standing outside a gate. They further stated that the men ran upon seeing the lawmen approaching, except for one who allegedly pointed a firearm at the police. A member of the patrol opened fire, hitting the alleged gunman, who turned out to be Chambers. He was rushed to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The lawman also stated that an illegal handgun was recovered from him, which the residents are also refuting. Still making Mello TV news, Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey, head of the Crime and Security Portfolio, congratulated the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF investigators who are landing more guilty pleas in court and confessions as the JCF continues its modernization thrust in improved investigative training, mentorship, and capacity building.
I think we have some of the finest investigators within the region, and investigators who can stand up to any international scrutiny. I know that in first world country where investigators are exposed to all type of technology and resources, but when we look at the limited resources that we do have, whilst it is improving, and you look at the quality, as a matter of fact, if I may just step back a little, now we are getting several guilty pleas and confessions, and people do not confess unless they see that they are cornered, unless they see that there's no way out. I mean, defense counsel, when they review the material that is presented to them and having had discussion with their clients, that is why we are getting the type of guilty plea and we are getting the type of confession, because we are more meticulous, we are more thorough in what we do. We use science, we use technology, and the training that the officers are getting, we continue to develop them through training, develop their capacity through training, different type of training. I must point out that even within CIB, which is not the traditional way of doing things, we have done direct recruiting from the police training facility, and we have actually exposed them to significant amount of training that by the time they become part of the CIB, they are well advanced in terms of their ability to interview people, to record statement, and to understand the dynamics. So as we understand that experience, there's a program of mentorship that is also created where they are mentored by more experienced officers, and we are seeing significant dividends as a result of that.
DSP Bailey further stated that the force's multi-agency type investigations assist in finding criminals wherever they are.
One of the approaches that we have taken is to engage in multi-agency type approach in our investigation. So our mantra is that wherever you are, whoever you are, once you are involved in crime, we are going to extend our investigation to you. Again, it's about capacity building, widening our ability to investigate, do the paper trail, follow the evidence, follow the money as well, and also the owning of the talents of our investigator. I think, as I said, I am very impressed when I do case reviews, when I look at the quality of the investigation that I see. I am really impressed, and I cannot overemphasize how I'm pleased with the investigation, be it even in terms of those who are support to the investigators, like specialized ops, the Caribbean Search Center, the K9 Division, for the role that they play. It's this multiple approach that we take towards investigation, and we link investigation. And I forgot to include the NIB, the intelligence component. We are getting better. When you look at the international benchmark standard, if you talk about maybe it's about 16%, 17% average. We are getting over 28% on our intelligent packages, which is something that is commendable.
And those are some of the stories making news. We will return with other stories, as the public will soon have access to the Harmony Beach Park, formerly the closed Harbor Beach Park in Montego Bay. And the National Family Planning Board launched the Human Immunodeficiency Virus HIV self-testing earlier today. But first, we'll go to a break and then join Christopher Scott with the very latest in sports.